You read that title correctly. Yes, you did. Joker becomes God. And I'm not talking about a god like Darkseid or Thor. He literally becomes God. Originally known as a normal human that was criminally insane. I mean, he's literally shot Barbara Gordon because why not? So I think it's safe to say this doesn't go well, does it? This is Emperor Joker Explained. Emperor Joker, one of, if not the most underrated character I've done on this channel, as well as having one of the most unreasonable and out of ordinary storylines. Alright, enough chatter, let's explain this clown. So I want to lay out some things real quick. Reality was completely changed when Joker became God. Here are some prime examples. Superman was altered from a once role model to the world into now where everybody sees him as a criminal that's locked in Arkham Asylum because he quote unquote killed Lex Luthor. But Superman never remembers this. As a matter of fact, although altered, Superman breaks through and remembers his past morals. But this all begs the question, what happened to the Man of Steel's other teammates? Okay, so like I said earlier, this world is really out of the ordinary. So the Justice League members, just like Superman, are the Arkham Asylum inmates. And they're definitely not as familiar looking as Superman. I mean, their literal names change. But let's see what the Joker remade the Justice League into. Aquaman. Born from a man and fish, unluckily he had more man DNA than he had fish. And because of that, that removes the capability of going into the ocean or water in general. It doesn't make much sense, but it's Joker's world. He controls reality. Next is Wonder Woman. Instead of being born on Themyscira, Joker had her be born on Paradise Island. She was raised to fear all men and now uses her immense power to become a housemaid, just to feel guilty about her being a woman and a criminal. Her name also seems to be altered to the Housemaid of Might. Now we have the fastest man alive, the Flash. The Flash was born addicted to sweets. He literally couldn't say no. So when he tried stealing sweets from a vending box, he got electrified and then turned into a speedster. The Flash now uses his super speed to steal food, making him the fastest fat man alive. And his new name is now considered the Flab. Martian Manhunter. The last survivor of a proud Martian race, the Manhunter hides amongst the people of Earth, and now uses his superpowers to overcome his height that's an astonishing 3 feet tall. He's stacked with a ton of uranium and is using it to destroy Earth in hopes of finding a new world. Now Plastic Man is a bit more basic. He got the name Plastic Man because he was known as a credit card fraud. And one day he got caught in the very device he used to commit crime, which in turn allowed him to turn into any credit card or ATM. So now he just turns into ATMs to mess up people's credit cards. And last but certainly not least, Kyle Rayner. Kyle Rayner obtained his powers because he was granted a magical yellow lantern paper. Yes, Joker is that powerful. He can mesh a lantern ring into paper. Kyle Rayner's new name is now Yellow Paper Lantern, and he dedicates his life to scaring people with his shadow puppets. And I know you're probably asking, what happened to Batman? Oh boy. You see, Joker had a lot more planned for Batman. And I'm not talking, oh, remaking his original self. No, something much more sinister. Oh boy, Joker, what have you done now? I'll tell you what. When Joker remade the universe, there was a specific detail that was very important. Important not only to us figuring how Joker even came to this state, but also important for our storyline and how our heroes defeated him. Okay, so at the introduction of the comic book, they explain how nobody can stop Joker. And the only chance they have is Superman, not because of his power, but because of his will. And I want you to keep that in mind. So when Joker made this reality, he made it with loops. Basically, the same thing will occur every day for certain individuals. For example, Mr. Mixie. Joker made it where he's continuously getting hit by a train, rinse and repeat. For Superman, every day he breaks out of jail, but then goes back into it. For Superboy, he goes to work and has the same thing happen again. But there was always something that was hinted at in these comics.
Ain't you gonna take his mask off?
At the end of each comic, they would have this humongous scream and it will be very fearful. Like the people who notice it are scared themselves. I always thought this scream was the Joker laughing to scare people, but we learn later on it's something much more sinister. Now this begs the question that was asked earlier, what happened to Batman? Like in the animated series, God Emperor Joker wants to have fun with Batman. And what's Joker's way of having fun with him? Like discussed earlier, the worst loop that Batman can have. After Superman broke the loop, which we will get into later, He was trying to find his best friend Bruce, but when he found Bruce, he was dead. But not truly. You see, when Clark went to go dig his friend's grave up, Batman came back to life. Because that was the cycle. Every day, over and over and over. Batman can never break free of this cycle of death. He dies so many times, he begins to doubt his own existence. Getting murdered by killer clowns, reminding him of the Joker. Clark, being Superman, tells Batman that they need him. They need a strong mind like his in order of having more hope in defeating this Emperor Joker. And although all this torture that was given to him, such that Batman was completely broken in the end, and even the Spectre claims he cannot restore how much torture Joker has did to him, Clark's inspiration still pushes him through to break free. And Clark's will is so determined not just to save humanity, but the multiverse itself is such that even the Justice League breaks free of their loop. And it also helps Mr. Mixie breaks free of his. Which is when we get into this explanation of how Joker became God and how powerful this monster really is. When Mr. Mixie's quote-unquote loop was broken, he explains to Superman how that was only an astral projection of him and he was actually waiting for him in the Justice League headquarters. So how did Joker become this omnipotent god? Well, Mr. Mixie explains how one day he got bored messing with Superman. Because if you didn't know, Mr. Mixie is one of Superman's villains. But I promise you, this guy is not an ordinary villain. He is far more powerful than any of Clark's rogues. Moving on though, he explained since he got a little bored, he went to Arkham Asylum. And he was trying to find Joker, but Joker wasn't there. They actually moved him to New York City. And the reason this guy wanted to find Joker was so dumb. He literally wanted to give him his powers to see what he would do. But not all of it, only 1% of it. But we gotta keep in mind, 1% of this guy's powers is still overpowered. Let me give you an understanding of how strong Mr. Mixie is. Mr. Mixie is by far one of the strongest DC characters. In Man of Steel, issue 75, Mr. Mixie created his own Doomsday. He did this because he wanted to remake the death of Superman. And if you guys didn't know, Mr. Mixie can tell what issue is published. As a matter of fact, he can edit himself in a comic cover that he shouldn't be in. Which is why the comic Mixie remakes the death of Superman and resembles the same exact issue as Superman's death. But moving on, Mixie erases his powers because he wants to remake this instance. Issue is, when Mixie supposedly dies to Doomsday, he just meets up with the Riders and then defies death. So he can't die even when he has no powers. Mixie has rewrote Superman into a baby, he has enforced a censorship on the story for the readers, and this guy somehow destroyed an omnipresent place with a snap of his fingers, which was the 5th dimension. And if you're confused how Mixie's doing all these crazy powerful things, well, Mixie can do anything. In Impulse issue 58, when Plastic Man and Mixie were having a shape off, Mixie lets it be known he can do anything, literally anything. And when they question him and say, okay, can you put yourself in that TV reality? And since Mixie can do anything, he does it. Even Brainiac and Lex Luthor claim this imp has limitless power. He has become a writer of the story and was erasing the entire multiverse. He's messed with galaxies and bashed the Spectre in the head with a planet. And they also gave Calendar Man powers that allowed him to manipulate the plot. And I can go on longer, but this is an Emperor Joker video. Okay, so back to the storyline, Mixie explains how he was going to give him 1% of his power, but you see, Joker tricked him. Joker tricked Mixie into saying his full name, which grants the user 99.9% of his powers. So basically, Joker just got really powerful. At this point, we learn Joker is now all-powerful, and considering he's a homicidal maniac, he can obliterate the entire multiverse if he wanted to. Wow, that's a lot of power. But there's definitely more. Remember how I said Emperor Joker was God? Yeah, so let's talk about that. So not only does Superman call Emperor Joker all-powerful, but you know how people say thank God when a miracle or something astonishing happens? Yeah, in this reality, they say thank Joker. They also refer to Joker as the Almighty, and when explaining the origin of the universe, they say in the beginning, Joker made the heavens. And there's also the time when Harley was talking to Joker about ending everything, she calls him all omnipotent. And he explains how he's gonna end the entire multiverse and remake it with order and no chaos. And while he's talking to Harley and thinking, his own goons betray him. And he basically explains to them how they're dumb for that because Joker is God. Joker is everything. You are nothing, he will win. And it makes sense why Joker is put at this status. You know the Quintessence? Yeah, the collective of the Phantom Stranger, Spectre, and all the other cosmic gods. He reality warps them easily, and even figured out the anti-life equation and threatened Darkseid. And anything the Joker thinks comes into existence. For example, when he thought of ending the universe, it instantly destroyed itself, and then he rethought into existence once again easily. In this panel right here, he's singing on how he's dominating all of time and space. We can see Dr. Fate, Phantom Stranger, Darkseid, and many others all at his control. So now the finale, the ending. How was he defeated? So you remember earlier how I told you to keep in mind about Superman's will and how he broke free of his loop? Well, we're back. Superman broke through his loop by his dominant will. Let me show you what I mean. Superman never gave up on believing this isn't his real reality. As a matter of fact, he even tried explaining to the Justice League when they were villains that this isn't our true selves. And when Superman figured out Joker was the one who did all this, he was not gonna give up on trying to defeat Joker. You see, Joker wanted to break Clark. Joker stole his girl and made Lois Lane his queen. Joker sent him to get the same torture as Batman. And the worst of all, put him in a TV reality where everyone he touches dies. And in the end, he murdered Lois just because he touched her. This nearly broke Clark, but he then wakes up and tells Joker he will not stop fighting and you can try to do all this, but it's not gonna work. The Spectre ends up telling Clark that he has the strongest will in the entire multiverse, and if Clark loses hope, there's no hope at all in defeating Joker. The Joker then proceeds to make the Spectre a parrot and then kills Lois Lane actually. So clearly the Joker doesn't care about Batman or Superman that much. Or does he? In Superman's last battles with Joker, he realizes he has to beat him psychologically. He explains, even as a god, Batman still has power over you, because without Batman, Joker's life has no meaning, which is why you haven't erased him this whole time. And Joker just says, maybe I was just waiting for a big moment, watch, bye Batman, and then he fails, because as much as he wants to deny it, he's still that clown prince of crime. As much as he wants to be the emperor, deep down, he's still that devoted clown for Batman. Oh, what happened after that? Well, because deep down he believed that and actually knew Superman was right. With that belief, it became true, and he just basically believed Batman to be stronger than him. Yeah, those powers can really do anything. And then it pretty much ended there. Macy got his powers back, and Joker went back to Arkham Asylum. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is Emperor Joker explained. And that's Emperor Joker. It's pretty downplayed, and so is most of your favorite characters. Alright, that's it, I'm out.